So the situation in Niger is really interesting because it's actually raising voices, different opinions from African people, people from different African countries, and also the so-called Pan-Africanists that live in the United States, European countries, outside of the continent, basically. There are many arguments that just appearing now online due to the Niger conflict or Niger situation, sorry. So the main one is the presence of Russia in Africa. So one side of the argument, they do say that Russia is actually seeking to colonize African countries to exploit the resources by using a private military group like the Wagner Group, and they don't want these guys in African countries. There is another side of the argument, which is mainly driven by individuals that live in Africa. The first one I just mentioned now is some individuals that live in Africa, and mainly people in the diaspora, and these Pan-African individuals living in the United States. They actually think that Russia wants to colonize African countries using the Wagner Group. My point of view is, hey, that's dumb. That's nonsense. Seriously, if anyone thinks like that, you need to check history, the history of Russia. Just tell me how many African countries they did colonize. Anyways, the other argument, there are individuals that actually say that the presence of the Wagner Group in African countries, such as, let's say, Mali, for example, is actually providing security to these countries against other countries that have been exploiting them for many, many years, decades. So after a military coup, the main thing that they needed was protection, military protection. And in the case of Mali, the Wagner Group was able to basically finish a problem that they had with terrorist groups in the northern regions of the country within 6 months. Something that the French have been trying to, together with the UN, by the way, have been trying to neutralize or end for almost 5 years. So we can see the effectiveness of the Wagner Group when it comes to fighting against terrorist groups. There is a third opinion regarding this, which is that there are Western countries actually financing these rebel groups that prop up in specific places where there are natural resources. They take over this place, then the West send what we call peaceful forces from the UN or interventionist forces from different countries. And what they do, they fight these forces, or they pretend like they're fighting the forces, but they're actually not doing so. And they are supporting the exploitation of these resources and helping them to export them to other different countries. This is just an opinion, okay? I read this online. I'm sharing this with you. If you believe that one, good. Anyways, so there is also another narrative regarding the expansion of China within Africa. As you know, China is not expanding militarily, apart from South Sudan, and I think in Djibouti they might have another military base. And recently in Equatorial Guinea, they did also sign a contract to build a military naval base in that country, a very tiny country in Western Africa. So the Chinese are actually moving economically, financially. They providing loans to African countries, and obviously there are many individuals that they still have in their mind what the West does, this debt trap by the IMF or the World Bank, in which they bring these financial structural programs in which they force the countries to privatize the public services that benefit the population, and then they fall in the hands of private individuals that cooperate with multinational corporations to benefit from the exploitation of those resources, all under private hands. And the main export remains in the hand of the government, let's say oil or gas, whatever the country has, it remains in the hand of the government. They nationalize it. However, the government is under the influence of certain Western powers. Therefore, they will be obeying in terms of price, who they should be exporting to, etc. Okay, so the Chinese are actually providing loans with they have basically no political conditions like the loans from the IMF or the World Bank or the Paris Club, that they have conditions, political, social, economic conditions. The Chinese are just giving loans. Some of them are interest free, and together with Russia, they have forgiven many countries in Africa the loans. They have said, "We that's it. You have a loan with us. We forget this loan. We give you another one. We want to help you to develop." And actually, these loans go directly to infrastructural projects. It doesn't go to the pockets of some individuals like it used to happen with these loans from the IMF. There are many cases in which African leaders they have pocket money instead of using it for the development of these countries, and Western powers knowingly has did continue to provide this money to these African leaders. They have been pocketing it, using it to finance the education of their kids, buying big houses, mansions in abroad in different countries, and under the watch of Western powers that they were providing this money on purpose. However, the Chinese, as I say before, they're actually giving this money for a specific objectives. Okay, and they actually build it in many countries, like in Angola, for example. There is an agreement in which the Chinese come to the country, let's say, to build electric installations, and they have to train individuals in the country in that job, for example. So in the future, they will be able to maintain and even build these electric infrastructures. So there is a deal. Okay, there are many Africans that they are concerned about this because they think that China is actually giving this money to get African countries into a debt trap. And it's true, there is quite a lot of money that is being given from Chinese banks, which are the biggest ones in the world, to these African countries. However, African countries, just like any individuals, they have responsibilities, and when you take a loan, you have to pay it back. This is no cool aid anymore from Western powers that they give you loans and they continue giving you. You get more and more indebted. It doesn't matter, and this is actually you have to pay back. And as a responsible leader or the head of the finances of that country, you have to ensure that the money that have been given to you, lended to you, you give it back to the lenders, just like any individual in your private life, you do that. So African countries have responsibilities. In the past, they did not see this responsibility and the debts kept growing. But now they see this, and there are many individuals that they don't like this. They prefer to continue getting loans at very high interest from European institutions rather than getting free debt loans and then just paying them back. So I don't buy this argument, to be honest with you, because as I say, you have to be responsible. So my opinion regarding the expansion of China and Russia in Africa, from my point of view, is positive. And when I did my dissertation doing on my master's degree, this was my main topic. The Sino-African relationships, economic, political relationship, and I saw a very positive relationship because the Chinese come with a different approach. Even though the Africans think that the Chinese will act the same way as the Europeans did in the past, actually the Chinese come with a different perspective, just like the Russians do. They are willing to help these countries to develop and to see them progressing, to have a better future, to see their citizens progressing, teach them how to progress, rather than that keep them underdeveloped and continue underdeveloping these countries. So I just wanted to share this because there's quite a lot of opinion from different people regarding this matter, and I think it was important for our profile, Intel Solid, to share our opinion on this because, as you know, we cover African politics quite a lot and everything that's going on in different countries in Africa. So I hope this helped you. I hope this also helped you to formulate your own opinion if you don't have one, or to counter your opinion if it's contrary to what I just shared with you. So we will continue informing you.